we're just sitting out here, hanging out on the porch, and just taking it all in. And
it's been a long, hot day.
Yeah. We're just thinking about the 100,000 subscribers.
It's hard to believe.
It is. It's hard to even wrap my head around. I don't know that many people even care what we're doing. But, you know, we thought we'd celebrate in a little different kind of way. Nothing fancy, nothing, I don't know, nothing that's not us. This is us, you know, this is what's made the channel. We're hot and nasty and probably stink a little bit. Been working all day and just thought we'd spend some time with y'all out here on the porch this evening.
Yep.
And just tell y'all how thankful we are for y'all watching our videos. And it's amazing to me that there's at least 100,000 hearts that we've touched. I hope. But I don't know, it's just something hard to wrap my head around. We thought we'd bring us down to a little more personal level and maybe just talk about even life before we ever picked up a camera. You know?
Try to give us a little backstory, I guess.
Yeah, a little backstory on everything. And
so, me and Megan both grew up pretty much here where we live at. We grew up in the same area anyways. And like...
same community.
Yeah, there you go. Same community.
And I always knew who Andy was. Number one, his mama was my teacher, you know, small town life. And number two, he used to eat at the local restaurant up here. And I used to always hear about Andy. And guess who called him?
You called him, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. Used to always hear all about Andy because Andy, he's 3.5 years older than me. So I was a little youngin' back when I used to hear about him, but...
yeah, your friend is the one that worked there. Yeah,
I know.
That's where she heard about me from, I guess. I never even knew about this till me and her got together.
Oh, it wasn't just her, though. I heard about you before.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
I was a nerd back then, though. I can't believe anybody want to talk about me.
Are you cool now?
Not really. I'm just here. But, yeah, I mean, we literally live half a mile down the road from where I grew up.
Yeah.
Now, we live about 20 minutes from where Megan grew up. The house we live in is my grandparents' house. This is the house my mama was raised in. And
you spent a whole lot of time up here yourself, didn't you?
Well, this back porch and this specific swing. The swing we are swinging in is the same swing I swung in with Grandma.
Yep.
Now, no, we didn't inherit this house or anything like that. We did have to buy this house, but I always knew that, I don't know, even when I was a kid, I used to tell Grandpa all the time that I was going to live here one day. And here I am now, living here, raising my family here just like he did his. And a quick, funny, I guess it's a funny story, but kind of touched me the other day. This back porch, we were talking about it with Mama, and Mama told me, she said something about Grandpa built this whole porch for 2 reasons. Number one reason was he was having water leak into the basement from back here, and so they built the porch over. You know, that extended roof solved that problem. And number two was he wanted somewhere for his little grandson, which was me, to ride the tricycle. And I used to ride the tricycle from that corner to that corner, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. I mean, I wore it out. I done it all the time. But I was thinking about that. Like he built, way back then, he built it for me then. He never realized that he was going to be building it. Shoot, I'm going to cry. He never realized he was going to be building it for his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren at that. Not grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So Jacob and Maggie now play out here on this porch every day. I think it's funny how things like that work out.
Me too. It makes it mean a whole lot more.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I know, poor thing, he used to stand right here on this porch. And he'd say, little girl, he's going to work you to death if you let him.
Yeah,
I should have listened to him, shouldn't I?
so back then, this was before me and Megan were ever living here. Grandpa was still living here, but y'all have heard me say I've always had a garden. Well, my garden was that same garden that's out there now. Wasn't quite as big, but pretty much the same spot. And he'd sit out here every evening because I'd be up here working in it or whatever. And then when me and Megan got together, she'd be up here working with me in it. It's just what I done for my pastime. And yeah, he'd stand up here and holler at her all the time. He'll work you to death if you let him.
Yep. Won't ever forget that. I think something like, should I listen to
You
him?
might should have, because I swear it's all you do now is work. It's something all the time.
Oh, me. But yeah, so we've been married for 12 years.
Yep.
And then Jacob, a lot of people ask how old the kids are. Jacob's 10, Maggie's 7. And, ever since we've got married, we've slowly built on the life that you see now. And, we went through our share of hard times, which I think is that's what makes you. You don't realize it at the time, but.
Well, anything that comes easy, you'll lose respect for.
Right.
So if you really want something and you really love it, you'll work at it.
Mhm.
And
that's right.
I think a marriage is the same way.
Oh yeah.
If things come easy to you the whole time, then you're going to lose respect for all of it.
That's right. And we've always grown a little garden, and we've just built on it through the years. And it hit me when the kids were small that I realized that my calling maybe wasn't exactly what I thought it was. That my main job on this earth was to be their mama. And it took us a while to get to that point.
Yeah, it did.
I think Maggie was, 2, maybe 3, when I really started cutting back my hours.
Yeah. You feel like you're just missing out on everything if you're not the one that's there taking care of them every day.
And I felt like that was, I don't know, something hit me one day. I won't ever forget it. It just hit me.
I remember when it happened.
Yep. And I said, you know what? Because I was working about 60 hours a week. That's when I was doing home health. Remember that?
Yep.
And, that was, I told him, I said, we got to figure out something. And that's really when we really hit it hard. Started growing a lot of our food. And that was, not only was it good for us, luckily I had a husband that liked to garden, and luckily he's got a wife that likes to take care of animals.
Yeah, kind of worked hand in hand with each other. And we figure out frugal ways to do things. We started doing it for financial reasons, to cut down. And the food just simply tastes better.
And it does, but it was mainly at that point when we really expanded. It was for financial reasons, because I said, if we can get this grocery bill down, I can do it.
Yeah, you were able to cut back on your hours.
I can do it. Because at that point, I had cut back everywhere I cut back, paid off debt, But, that's kind of where we started. I think I posted my first YouTube video in 2019. You're going to see one on the channel from 2012, but...
That one was long before YouTube was ever thought of as doing something for us.
That was just one of those things, back in the day, we were like, there's this thing called YouTube, and you can put videos on there.
Yep.
And so that's what that came from. But,
if you choose to go watch it, you can, but whatever. It's about 30 seconds long.
Of maybe. Andy's old red and white truck. But you can't even tell what
terrible.
it is. Yeah.
It is terrible.
But the real video, I say real, I think I put out a handful of videos in 2019. I don't think
they were all with the phone turned up the other way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
And so that kind of, but that leads me to my next point. The reason that I started videoing that stuff was because in life you meet so many different people when you're out. This is what done it for me anyway. Me and Andy both talked about it, but you start telling them they say, what'd you do this weekend? I killed hogs all weekend. What you mean? What'd you do? And they're like, "You did what?"
Ain't nobody done that since Grandpa
Yeah,
did it.
yeah, you know, and
or even something just as like a canned green beans this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
I mean, people would just like, "What?
Yeah,
You still do that?"
and that right there kind of sparked something in me, and I was like, you know, because we do live in a really rural area, and a lot of people still do this.
Well,
stuff.
so quick, I'm gonna go sidetrack real quick. But we had a fella come up here and visit us one day, and he's from North Carolina too, and I think from a fairly rural place in North Carolina. But when he got here, he was like, "Man, it ain't no wonder y'all homestead." He said, "There ain't nothing around here to buy nothing at." He said, he said, "It ain't cause you want to." He said, "It's survival around here."
Yeah.
And it really ain't. There's, so now we have like a Dollar General,
Probably
10 minutes that way and 10 minutes
Yeah.
that way. So other than that and a couple of convenience stores, that's it. Everything else is at least 30 to 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But
sorry to interrupt you there.
But that's the way we've always grown up, though. So, like, you may be listening to that and be like, "Oh my gosh, like, how you stand it?" We ain't never known no better.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, you know.
That's
But
what we're used to.
what was I talking about?
Think what you just said right there.
What?
Our lights just come on.
These are it's getting dark out here. These are my party lights.
Yeah.
So, I started, that encouraged me, those people talking about that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you still live that way, or you still do that, or I wish I'd asked my grandma about that," or something, you know, about the cannon, or the hogs, or the whatever, just whatever pertained to any of that, the cooking from scratch. And it kind of sparked something in me, and me and Andy were talking about it, and, you know, I decided to start putting videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, albeit back then, the videos, like, they ain't hitting on too much. They crack me up.
They're plain and simple and to the point.
Yeah, they're like 5 minutes long. Maybe 5 minutes long. Anyways, we started doing that, and 2020 hit, and I was still working full-time. Andy was working full-time plus. And that's when 2020 was really when we said, well, at this whole point, we're working towards me coming home. Through all of that. When 2020 hit, it made me want to get out even that much more. Because if you don't know, I'm a registered nurse and have been for 13 years. It was a tough go back then.
Oh, yeah. I can remember coming home during that period of time, and we're not going to get into all that, but I can tell you, I heard some of the craziest stories you could ever imagine from Megan, and
it was traumatizing.
It was awful, and so
in ways that not in the ways the media told you it was.
But at that point, we figured it out. So we attempted to grow produce and all that stuff, and we did make a little bit of extra income off of that. However, we was working our tails off doing it. Because I was still working, like she said, more than full-time, and taking care of 2 very small kids, and doing that was tough. We did it. We made it work, but it was tough. And so at that point, we were like, all right, this ain't going to work. So we cut back on expenses a big time. You got extremely frugal with your budget and everything.
Even more frugal than I already was.
Yeah.
I'm already pretty frugal anyway.
We went down to like where we had no data on our phones. Like,
we didn't have no data on our phones. We had the bare minimum as far as grocery store groceries went. Like, no junk food. Like I didn't buy it.
Anything that we didn't have to have didn't get bought.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it. Anything that was not a necessity, I didn't buy.
I mean, it's like we didn't really do without anything we needed. We had it. But yeah, if there was something we didn't need, we didn't get it.
There was no extra.
And there wasn't much going out to eat at all during that period of time.
There was no Netflix. There was no cable TV.
No, nothing.
No.
We didn't have internet in the house or nothing at that point either, did we? We just had what little bit of data we had on our phone.
Yeah.
Data, whatever you say.
Yep. And so I was still at that point making YouTube videos, and I can't remember when we made the exact switch, but at that time we were True Grit, Southern Cooking and Canning.
Yeah, we were.
And that's about the time I made my cookbook.
Yeah.
Was around then, I believe.
Yeah.
And so that cookbook, actually, I put it together with some people in our community here to just kind of sell to the folks of the community. And, well, it's still floating around Amazon. And there's some good recipes in it, but it's a very small cookbook that, like I said, that I made several years ago. But we changed then at some point, maybe it was 21, heck, it could have even been 22. We decided that we wanted to take our channel to in a different direction. Yeah. And the reason we called it True Grit is because living this way, that's what you got to have.
True grit.
You got to have true, real grit.
Plus, it was one of your favorite movies.
Plus, I love John Wayne. Yeah. I love John Wayne. But it's true though. I mean, you do. Right. That really resonates with me. The true grit that you have to live this way. But we wanted the channel to go more towards, because people were asking in my cooking videos. They would say, "Did you grow that? Did that come from your garden?" Blah blah blah. You know, I want to see your garden. And so at that point, we went from True Grit Southern Cooking and Canning to True Grit Appalachian Ways, and we thought that worked good with just the Appalachian Ways, because y'all know that it's a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of everything, and at that point we started incorporating everything. And around, the best that I can remember, around mid 2021 is when I came home more. I went part-time. I went from full-time to part-time.
Well, if I can remember right, at that point, we hadn't really grown a ton, but YouTube at that point was paying a little bit of something.
Just a little. I was working 3 jobs, though. I just cut down my hours.
That supplemented what we were making off of YouTube, supplemented what one of your part-time jobs was doing, right?
No, it hadn't got to that point.
Oh, it hadn't got to that point yet?
I was working full-time at the hospital and went down to part-time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm ahead of myself here then.
Yep. I was working full-time at the local hospital, went down to part-time.
And when YouTube finally grew to that point is when you quit at the local hospital.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago this month.
It's only been 2 years ago?
Yep.
So it was in 23?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was 2 years ago in August. Yep.
All right.
That I quit for good.
Yeah.
You know, over there. So that's kind of, and our why never changed on the channel, I don't think.
Yeah, why we make the videos.
We make the videos because we want to preserve the traditions. We want to preserve this life. And we want to show you that you can do it. If 2 rednecks with an iPhone can do it, anybody can do it, can't they?
I want this. I like this YouTube channel to be more encouragement for anything. If there's something you want to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because
daggone it, if we can do it, I promise you can do it.
Well, the way I see it,
you put you some true grit in it, and you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make your YouTube channel, you do it.
Yeah,
if that's what you want.
Yep.
I mean, and honestly, we never once, not one time, especially when we were smaller, thought that our YouTube career would have went to where it is now.
No, I just enjoyed teaching people.
I think, honestly, we're still a little bit overwhelmed by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
But no, you're fine. But
you enjoy teaching people.
I enjoy teaching people. Andy enjoys teaching people and encouraging people, and I'm going to tell you, I become a nurse because I like to help people. Yeah. I enjoy helping people. I would help people for free. I try to help people for free. And that was kind of my thought on this, too. I was like, especially once we grew enough that we actually started getting more comments and stuff like that, I realized, I'm like, maybe this is my calling to help people.
This right here.
This.
And we're helping out people who are interested in doing that type of thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep. Or even if we just help bring a little joy to your day. That right there means oh my goodness, that means so much. And so, that's kind of where the YouTube channel come from, and where I still feel like we are today, still sitting here in our old clothes, on our old swing, on our old porch.
I ain't never been one to try to impress nobody. You can ask anybody who's ever known me for a long time. I've always liked to help people, and I've always liked to encourage people. Honestly, I think I like encouraging people more than I like doing anything. And I didn't even realize that till here recently, to be honest with you. But I've always been one to try to talk somebody into doing something that they want to do. Mm-hmm. Now,
because Andy is always, I've always looked up to him because that's what he's always done.
Well, I made a decision when I was young, when I was in school. I come this close to going to Nashville Auto Diesel School and was going to be a diesel mechanic. And I just didn't want that. Like, I felt like that's what everybody else wanted me to do, but that just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I am so glad I did not do that now. And I made up my mind that if I could do it, I was never going to work for somebody else. And to this point, I've been my own boss ever since then.
Well, you said, I think your grandpa kind of encouraged you for that too, because what'd you say? He went, worked a public job for a little bit.
For a very short time.
And he said, the heck with this, and he come back home and farmed. Yep. And I think, you know.
But I just, so that's when I started the lawn care business. Right out of high school. It was in 2005. And at that point, I'd done anything and everything I could to make $1. Because, you know, I'm just starting out a brand new business. I didn't have a whole lot of work. So I took on everything you could think of. Now, I did work for some people on and off, you know, I helped a guy put in septic tanks one time. And I helped another landscaper doing the same thing I was doing. But they were extremely flexible people to work with. And I finally reached that point where I was busy enough that I just said, hey, you know, I'm just going to be me now. And so I done everything you could think of from, well, I mean, if it was something that could be done outside, I did it. And it was just all because I just had that dream that I was going to work for myself all my life. And so far, I've been able to keep that dream alive.
Yep.
And so, where I'm going with this, I don't want it to sound like I'm tooting my own horn and bragging on myself or nothing like that, because trust me, I've had my share of struggles as well to keep that dream alive, and it has not been easy. Although it got easier as time went on, it definitely wasn't easy, and I had to focus, and I had to have times where my friends were wanting to go hang out and do this on a weekend or do that on a weekend or whatever, and I had to say no. So, you know, I missed out a lot of time with friends when I was younger because of it. Because I had stuff here that we'd work all week, and I'd have to work on the weekends on my stuff, fixing it for the next week.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was running older equipment. I had, but I was trying to stay debt-free as I could, so I was running older equipment that I could afford to pay for. And you just have to work on that stuff, especially when you were running as hard as we were running.
Yep. And you had a dream,
and I had a dream, and I chased it. And I've marked this
and
year.
Still chasing it.
This year marks 20 years of being in the lawn care business for me. When I started in 2005, I honestly never imagined that I'd still be doing it 20 years later. I was just doing it because, well, that's one good way I knew to make a little money, honestly.
Yep.
And so I kind of relate my lawn care business to this YouTube deal now, because the lawn care business was always mine. I never really shared any of that. Like, it wasn't never a family affair. It was just my deal. But now with our YouTube business, I guess that's what you could call it, like, it's the whole family. This is a legit family-run operation here.
Yeah.
And so I feel like reaching this 100,000 subscriber milestone is almost it's actually more exciting to me than when I first landed my first commercial property to mow. I've got that same level of excitement. It's almost like an achievement. And when you're a lawn care business first starting out, when you first get that real commercial property you're taking care of, when you win that bid, that's a good feeling. And what we've done here, like, this is a good feeling, except it's a feeling that we can share amongst the whole house. It's not just a feeling that I feel.
And with our True Grit community, like,
my goodness,
reading the comments and stuff, everybody congratulating us and saying, how much we've touched them and encouraged them, or just, made their day or helped them through a tough time. Just watching the videos, just, man, that celebrating with all of us and all of y'all.
I know. The whole time, like, we've been getting, as we eased up onto 100,000, we've been getting comments from several of y'all saying, y'all are almost there, y'all are almost there. I'm so excited. Like, we get to celebrate it all together. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I like the way this thing works. I honestly never dreamed it would be here, but I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But talking about encouraging people to do stuff, just like the lawn care was my dream. And actually this YouTube channel is becoming our dream. Mm-hmm. What we've done here, we've built our dream here. But all of that being said, I want everybody to remember that you're only given just a certain amount of time here on this earth. And what you decide to do with it is all up to you. And so it's kind of like I heard a guy say one day, he said, your dash is only so long. And I was like, what is it, my dash? What is he talking about? And he was talking about that dash on the gravestone. Now, I know I'm getting a little deep here, I feel like, but that's what really changed my world, was when I heard this guy say that. He said that dash is from the day you were born to the day you die. Mm-hmm. Your life is that dash.
That's right.
So if there's something you want to do it. Because, bad as I hate to say it, we're running out of time. Yep. Slowly but surely, every one of us is running out of time. So if there's a dream you want to chase it.
Don't worry about what nobody thinks.
Don't worry about what anybody says.
That was something I really I struggled with and still struggle with a lot. Man, because that's one thing I always looked up to with you is you do it.
I didn't care what nobody thought.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to do it.
Well, let me tell you, I got so I had support from my family when I started the lawn care thing. But other people were like, you can't make no living mowing yards. What are you doing? And why are you going to do that? Because you got to remember, back in 2005, so this day and age, everybody pulls a lawnmower trailer. But back in 2005, there wasn't but a handful of people in my area around here mowing yards for a living. So I got the most pushback you could ever imagine. I'm like, well, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. But just remember, if there's something you want to do it.
Yep.
And if you're worried about money, I guess I've always been lucky in the way I thought about things. For some reason, I never worried about money. I always figured out a way to make what I needed, and I just kept on going about my business. But I heard some really good advice from somebody the other day, and I thought back on my life, and it's true. If you follow your dreams and do what you love to do, eventually the money will come. One way or the other. You'll figure out how to make money at it or doing something. And that is so true.
And that don't mean that don't come with hard times.
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah.
And hard work.
Yeah.
But if you want to do something bad enough, you'll do it. Mm-hmm. And it don't matter what work is involved in it.
Right.
But anyways, that's my little spiel of encouragement on this video. If that just helps one of y'all,
yep.
That's all that matters.
And I'll tell you, back in 2023, yeah, I was about to quit YouTube. Mm-hmm. And if it hadn't been for Andy, I would have quit. And he has encouraged me to be, the best that I can be. And I am more than thankful for that. And
well, thank you.
Hope that his encouraging words encourage y'all too, because I live with the ultimate motivator.
Well, look, I'm not going to let her keep tooting my horn, because if it wasn't for her, this YouTube channel would not be what it is today. Because she is the mastermind behind all the editing. She does all I ever do is film. She does the rest, and let me tell y'all, you probably don't believe it, but a lot of work goes into making one of these videos. I mean, lots of time. She's up in the mornings, sometimes at 4, sometimes at 5, sometimes at 5:30. She'll be in there editing a video because that's the only quiet time there is in this house. Honestly, from then till the time I get up, which is about 6, she'll be in there working on videos or either late at night while after I've went to sleep. She's still in there working on videos, so she puts in countless hours towards making this YouTube channel work.
I reckon we make a pretty good team, don't we?
I guess so. I got the mouse and you got the brains.
I said, listen.
That should be on a shirt.
You finally figured it out.
Yeah, that should be on the shirt. I got the mouse and you got the brains. I like that.
That's pretty good.
That just come out.
Oh.
We might get rich off of that saying right there one day.
Oh, you've tickled me. That's funny. That's pretty good.
But no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go
I've
ahead.
got excited now, and I've got to talking.
But I do want to say one thing that we are doing in celebration of this. We're not doing a giveaway or anything like that, but I did put together a small little digital download, and it's going to have 10 of my most asked for recipes, and they're also our favorite recipes as well. And it's ones that you've seen on the videos through the years. But I've put that together. It's not much, but I'm also working on a website. The website is going to go live. Don't judge me on the website.
It's not done yet.
It's not completely done, but I do want y'all to have a way to go and get to this little download. It's free. You know, you can print it if you want to. It's just a little something I've been working on. Long-term goal for me. And I know I've been saying this, and, you know, a year ago my life changed forever and kind of blew up. So I haven't got to do it, but just hold on. Let me get it together.
I know.
But I hope that in the future, I want to do a cookbook. And we'll see if my motivator cannot motivate me to make that happen.
I'm trying. But I don't want to push too hard either. I ask her all the time if there's something I can help do to get that going. And y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not tech savvy, and I am not a cook. I can cook. I could survive if I had to on my own, but that's about it. I'd survive. I wouldn't thrive, would I?
I don't know. You might live on like steaks and stuff, pork chops.
Yeah, maybe. If it could be cooked on a grill, I could survive on that.
Tacos.
Right. Yeah, I've done pretty good with the tacos lately. But, yeah, so that's a long-term goal. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think we had a question multiple times, actually. Everybody wants to know, am I going to go full-time being YouTube too? I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I mean, even though I've chased being in the lawn care business as long as I have and have enjoyed it, anybody else that's in business for themselves knows that being in business for yourself comes with its own struggles.
You got the meanest boss there is. Yourself.
Well, no, it's not that. At one time, I had over 100 bosses.
Yeah.
We were mowing close to 100 yards, and then the landscaping jobs and everything else. So I had over 100 bosses, and it's hard to satisfy 100 bosses. But I don't know where I'll take that. I have cut back significantly on what I do on the lawn care side of things, and it's been all because y'all watch these videos. Mm-hmm. Like,
that's why we don't. I'll be completely honest with y'all. We don't really. I mean, we don't take a ton of products unless it's something that we really believe in. Like we tell y'all about the magazine. That's a magazine that we truly love and have read for years. There's a couple of other products you'll see us mention. We don't take a lot of that. We don't ask for money. All we can ask for is for y'all to watch these videos and learn, and we can encourage you, hopefully. And you know what? I get a lot of encouragement, too, from y'all. Believe it or not. I really do. And this whole video and rigmarole and sitting out here on the porch.
I feel like we've been around the world and back twice during this video.
It's all these words to say thank you.
Exactly. Thank y'all.
And never in a million years, honestly, in my mind, would I ever thought this many people would even care what in the world we were doing.
I know. And now here we are in some ways. At least I get the feeling from the comments and stuff, we have pretty much become some people's nightly entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's just mind-blowing to me.
And, I'm, of course, thankful that God has led us in this direction, because without Him, I feel like everything happens for a reason. And in 2019, I decided to make those handful of little videos for a reason, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
When I think back on it now. Because, really making videos just become my routine. I'm like, well, I'm going to video this, and I just did.
Yeah, you just did it. And uh-oh.
What?
Where'd it go? Whatever I was aiming to say left. Talking about being led to do something. So like with lawn care, I enjoyed that, and I felt good doing it. And I always told everybody that the reason I done lawn care was because it was the closest thing to farming. We got to plant plants, we got to take care of grass. Except instead of mowing it twice a year, we mow it every week.
Yeah.
But, it was close to farming. And I said I wanted to do that because it was too hard to make a living farming, especially in our area. And so I decided that lawn care would be my solution. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it. I still like to mow. I mow things around home here that don't need to be mowed, but I mow it because I like to mow and I like to make it look pretty. But with the YouTube part of things here, especially after we started getting all these comments of people saying how we've helped people and how we've encouraged somebody to do whatever they're doing, I don't think I've ever felt more led to do something than I have this in my whole life. Because I feel like everything we do with this channel, it just works.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle, but at the same time, it just works. And so, it's awesome. It honestly is. Sometimes I wake up and I want to pinch myself and make sure I'm not living in a dream.
Me too.
And then the True Grit community that we have on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's a community we built, but now in some ways kind of takes care of itself because it's got so many members now. That if you have
and I hope y'all are enjoying that page.
Yeah. And if you don't know about it, we do have a True Grit community on Facebook, and we have the True Grit official page, the Facebook page. But the community page is amazing to me because a person can ask a question on there. And at one time, I felt obligated to answer every single question that was on there because I felt like it was my responsibility. But now that we have enough members in that community page, there's so many of y'all in there that y'all answer the questions and help these people out.
And give out really great advice. Honestly.
It's so cool how that page is now kind of taking care of itself. Mm-hmm. And the members of it they're supporting each other. Even though those are people you don't know. Right. We don't know. People are helping out other people and you don't even know who they are. But it's just an amazing thing that we've put together here.
Yep.
If you'd have asked us probably 7 or 8 years ago about making YouTube videos and having a community on Facebook and being, I guess you could technically call us social media influencers.
I guess so.
If you'd have told us that's what we were going to be doing, I'd have never believed you.
No, me either. And that's one other thing, before we end this video today, we have officially, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we are going to be at the...
Oh, yeah.
What is it called? The Great Fall Garden Festival at Petals from the Past in, was it Jemison, Alabama?
I think that's right.
On September the 20th. We're excited to be there with Greg and Sheila from Hoss Tools.
Yeah, we're going to be sharing a tent with Greg and Sheila.
We're going to be hanging out with them and could not be more honored. If you'd asked me that 4 or 5 years ago when, well, I was so excited to meet them at Homesteaders of America, and to think that we would be sharing a tent with them at a event like that.
It's awesome.
It is. They're such good people, y'all. They're such good people. Thanks so much of them. But we're going to be there with them, and I know Stumpy from Perry Hill, I think he's going to be teaching some
he's going to be teaching a hog butchering class.
Yep. There's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be going on there, so if you're anywhere near Jemison, Alabama, come see us on September the 20th.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Yep.
And it's from encouragement from a bunch of y'all that we finally made the decision that we were coming.
Because we were very up in the air.
That's a good ways from us.
Yeah.
That's not close.
Yeah, we were very, very up in the air about it. But, yeah, we've got a lot of encouragement from all of y'all wanting us to do it and trying out. And people really wanting to meet us and everything. And so, yeah, like I said, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We'll be there, won't we?
Yep. And just think about what you just said. People want to meet us. Is that not the craziest thing ever?
My biggest goal in life of this YouTube channel, and I've told so many people that I've met through the years, is I hope that you meet us and you say, you know what, they're the same people.
Now, that's the biggest goal.
Yeah.
And I think that we are. I feel like we are.
I hope so. But anyways, guys, I will link the website below, and y'all can go check out our new website. Like I said, work in progress, hoping that it will get better as time goes on. Get your free download of my 10 favorite recipes. And anyways, till we see y'all on the next one.
And thank y'all.
Yes, and thank y'all so, so much. Everybody that subscribed, everybody that liked any of the videos, commented on videos through the years, just any of it. Shared videos.
Even if you watched it and didn't like it, thank you for watching it.
Yeah, and just thank you for watching, period. But anyways, guys, till we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.